Scentland, the land of scent. Oh yeah. Hello and welcome everybody. Chris back with another fairly laid back fragrance review, and the reason for that is that I'm going to be reviewing a fragrance by a designer who was always known as a gentleman of fashion, and somebody he was known as somebody who is very intelligent, extremely capable of his art, and extremely kind, gentleman-like, sophisticated. Talking about the house and the person, the fantastic late great genius of Oscar de la Renta. He was born in the Dominican Republic, and he's a real cosmopolitan because he obviously worked in Paris, and he worked in New York City, and he worked with no other than Cristobal Balenciaga, who he thought that, or his main statement was that Balenciaga was his mentor and his role model in fashion, and obviously Oscar de la Renta from the 60s became a major name in fashion. He was dressing many of the first ladies of the United States, and celebrities, and his fashion line was always very special, very easily to recognize, like the one of Gianni Versace or Karl Lagerfeld. I think he's very much in that category, playing in that league, or he was. He was considered as the gentleman of fashion. That was his nickname, if you want. And he was what I've read about him, I've seen him in interviews, watched loads of interviews with him, and he had such a nice, natural, sophisticated, extremely intelligent aura about him, and such a cosmopolitan aura that you could immediately tell that this person, this man, is a fantastic human being and a very, very talented artist, fashion designer. And obviously he had his fashion label, Oscar de la Renta, and in 1977 he brought out the first fragrance for a woman. Obviously in this review I'm going to be concentrating on the 3 male releases that he has done throughout the years. The first fragrance that he has presented to the market was a woman's version called Oscar in 1977, and then in 1980, ladies and gentlemen, a fragrance came out for men called Pour Louie. And I want you to take a good look on this bottle, ladies and gentlemen, because this fragrance is, in my opinion, the most well done, most well blended gentleman's fragrance ever released. And I'm not saying that because I'm in a mood to over push a particular fragrance. I've been trying this fragrance for a while now, and what I've learned that at the start, when you first spray it, it comes across as a typical 70s 80s fragrance, right? It has been released in 1980, as I said, and it has all this aromatic, spicy, heavy sensation when you first spray it. But then, as with many fragrances from the 70s and 80s, it's a very, very dense and very complex composition, much like classical music. So you have to, it's not an easy listening music we are talking about here, not an easy listening fragrance and bracklets that we're talking about here. You really gotta take the time, take your time to understand this fragrance. Take your time to understand this blend, the complexity and how it works on your skin, because it's a totally different fragrance. I had a colleague coming in the other day, and she said that, wow, you smell amazing. And I said, and what is this? And I gave her the bottle, and she smelled it off the bottle, and she said, no, it's not the one. I said, that is the one. It is the one, because this is what I used this morning, but it develops on my skin in a different direction than what you initially smell from the bottle or the first sprayer. Pour Louie, ladies and gentlemen, is the most well blended fragrance that I have ever come across. It's so delicate, it's so intelligent, it behaves like second skin, it's never screaming, and it's fresh, spicy, aromatic at the same time, never dated. I've never smelled anything as good as Oscar de la Renta Pour Louie. Take it from me, take your time, give it a chance. It's still around today. This is the made in the USA reformulation. There was a made in France version as well, but it didn't really lose its beauty. And they say Oscar de la Renta himself wore this as his own signature fragrance, and I can totally see why, because it's like as intelligent as the man himself must have been. He obviously passed away in 2014. This is still around, and I'm very happy to wear it as much as I can, really. So that was his first male fragrance, or male marketed fragrance that he brought out in 1980, as I said. But then 19 years passed. He obviously only launched fragrances if he thought that it's a great quality and it's time to release a new fragrance. So in 1999, 19 years after his first release, came out this fragrance called Oscar for Men. And this is a totally, completely different story, ladies and gentlemen, because this is a citrusy pepper fragrance. It's a fresh, very peppery, aromatic juice that we're talking about here. Very much springtime-like. It makes me feel as if I'm traveling somewhere. It makes me feel like I'm abroad somewhere, in a land or in a city that I've not been so far. It's very springtime smelling as well. If you actually, with this one, Pour Louie, and I didn't say that this is a fragrance, Pour Louie, that makes me feel like no other fragrance, because it gives me some inner peace. It has this inner peace factor, which I really love about Pour Louie. And this one gives me the sensation of traveling for some reason, to explore a new space, new city, because it's so invigorating in a special peppery way. And the only thing with this fragrance that you got to be careful with is that if you use it in the summer, in the high heat of the summer, there's this peppery, maybe nutmeg feeling in here, that if you're sweating a lot and it's summer, then over the period of the day, as the day progresses, this can come across as slightly sweaty due to the nutmeg, and therefore people may mistake it as your sweat. Okay, so I would use it in springtime. Perfect springtime fragrance. To me, for some reason, it smells like Canada. I don't know why. I've never been to Canada, but somehow it smells like Canada. Citrusy, slightly sour, slightly aromatic, definitely very peppery, fresh fragrance. Oscar for Men, from the year of 1999 by Oscar de la Renta. And then he never released any other male fragrance. He did have several female fragrances out there, but that was it as far as men's fragrances go. And then he passed in October 2014. He sadly passed away, Oscar de la Renta, but the brand obviously continues to live. And in 2016 they decided to make an homage, a tribute to the man, right? By releasing a new fragrance under the brand. And they called it, it's very interesting, Gentleman. Oscar de la Renta Gentleman, released in 2016 in the shape of a domino. Domino. Now, why Gentleman? Why is the Gentleman the name? Well, obviously, I mentioned it at the beginning. His nickname, Oscar de la Renta's nickname in the fashion industry was the Gentleman of Fashion, because he was just a gentle, kind, good-willing, warm-hearted person. Very humorous as well, extremely good humor, really outstanding. And so he was nicknamed the Gentleman of Fashion, and he loved the game of domino. So they said, why don't we put a very nice fragrance into a domino-shaped bottle? And it's fantastic. It's really a great idea. I love it. You could consider it as kitsch. Sometimes kitsch actually is sparking the senses, right? I remember Karl Lagerfeld saying, who has good taste? Who is the judge when you say it's good taste or bad taste? Who is the one who has the final say if something is good taste or bad taste? To me, this is borderline kitsch, but done very nicely because the reference is right. Oscar de la Renta loved the game of domino, and actually this bottle on your shelf is fantastic. It really works well, looks great. It's a 50ml and 100ml eau de toilette. And about the fragrance is a very, very nicely blended woody aromatic fragrance with fresh aspects of maybe grapefruit at the beginning, or bergamot, something citrusy definitely, and then a great sparkling woody note that immediately comes in, as well as some fantastic champagne note which gives it this fizz, and it dances all throughout this fragrance. So it is a woody aromatic fragrance that is sparkling, it's shining, it's intelligent, it's a bit reminiscent of the old days. It's classy, definitely. It is a very special blend, a very special release, and I really, really love it, and I had to get it, and that is a posthum release in remembrance, as an homage to the late great genius Oscar de la Renta. So well done to the House of de la Renta that they've released this fragrance, because it's totally worth. It totally lives up to the myth, to the quality of who Oscar de la Renta was and what he represents in the fashion industry. So I'm very proud to own all three of the Oscar de la Renta fragrances, and for me, Pour Louie definitely stands out, because it's just Pour Louie is an above masterpiece category. Okay, it's so extremely well blended that nothing beats it. So that's about the number one, number two, number three. That's the order of liking in my case, according to my taste. Okay, so that was Chris from Sandland with another fragrance review, this time covering the amazing, great house of Oscar de la Renta. Viva Oscar! Thank you very much, and talk to you soon.